Hello everyone and welcome to another review from Class 47 Peter, and in today's review we're going to be having a look at another Heljan model. So that's two Heljan model reviews on the trot, and this is a first for the channel because I've never done two reviews one after each other that have been Heljan models before, so this is a first, and it makes a change as well from reviewing mainly Hornby and Batman stuff. And in today's review we are going to be looking at the GWR 1361, which came out in last month on the 20th. I had it at the end of the month, which I bought along with the 1366. And again, this model is in the same livery as the 1366, the GWR monogram livery, as I call it. There's also the shirt button livery, two BR black liveries, one with the early emblem and the other with the late crest, and there's also the photographic grey livery, which is a limited edition, which in my opinion, that one is not the nicest of liveries, but that's just my opinion. I do know that DJ Models are also going to be bringing out the 1361, which is a Kerno exclusive, but for me, if I was going to get one of these, it was going to be a Heljan model, and these were announced a while back from Heljan. In fact, I didn't realise to start with that Heljan were even going to be making these. I only found out about it when the engineering samples of the 1366 came along, and then when I went to Worley last year I saw these on display on the Worley stand, sorry, on the Heljan stand at Worley, and I thought, yes, I'm definitely going to get one of these. I also saw the DJ Models engineering samples of the 1361 as well, which I'm sure by now you've all seen the video of that, as well as the photos that I've put on the internet on the various sites I'm on, such as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. But for me, if I was going to get the 1361, it was going to be a Heljan model. Nothing wrong with DJ Models. It was just a personal preference, to be honest, because a Heljan steam loco is something different, and it makes a change from just Heljan diesels, which is the reason why I was going to go for a Heljan one, because it's something different really at the end of the day. But one thing I was worried about with the DJ Models version at the time was lack of weight, because my experience with the Hunslet Austerity, as I've mentioned before in the review of the DJ Models 5800, the Hunslet Austerity is just simply lightweight, and it's not really a very strong puller, to be honest with you. The lack of weight means it struggled to pull trains, and this was before I bought the DJ Models 5800, which, as you all know if you've seen the review of that, it does have weight in it, so it is a lot heavier model, and I'm sure that they will follow through with the 1361. It was just something I was worried about at the time. But it wasn't really the reason why I went for Heljan's model, because again, like I've said, it's something different to have a steam loco made by Heljan. What's interesting as well, DJ Models and Heljan have both confirmed the same liveries, which is interesting. Right, so now we'll get on to the unboxing. So first of all, we'll remove the box sleeve from the now usual standard Heljan packaging. Quite tight on there, as you can see. So I'll put the box sleeve to one side. Then we'll take out the plastic casing when it decides to come out. There we go. And then we'll remove the instruction sheet from the card tray, and we'll take a look at those before we go on any further. And so the instruction manual for this is going to be very much similar to the one you get with 1366 basically. The front, you get some description there of the model, and there's the exploded diagram of the model as well, with all the various parts that you can order should you lose one, so you can send away for one if you need to. We've also got the specification and the loco's history. You can pause and read all that if you want, I'm not going to stop you. One of these has survived into preservation, at the Didcot Railway Centre. It also talks about removing the body shell and the parts supplied in the detail bag that you get. You've also got 2 photos there with the arrows pointing to the screws of how to get the body off, basically. So yeah, pretty much the same as you get with the 1366, basically. So I'll put those to one side. Now we'll remove the plastic cover to the packaging, and we can now get to the detail bags, which, like with the Heljan 1366, there are 2 bags here. So in these 2 bags of details we get this curious green piece of plastic. Again, it came with the 1366, I have no idea what it's for, but it's applied in the bag. A spare steam balance pipe, 4 GWR headlamps, which is very nice, 2 NEM couplings, 2 small shovels, and last but not least the wobbly and bent fire irons. Again, as I said with the 1366, which the fire irons they have the same problem with. I do not think they should be bent and all wobbly like that, so I think it's the plastic they've used that's not suitable to make them. But there we go. I do have some in my spares box anyway that are better ones, so I'll be using those instead. And now we finish the unboxing. So we undo the clip, lift up the top, and we take off the cellophane sheet off the model, which it's wrapped in, and we'll lift the model out of the packaging, and then we'll put the packaging to one side, and we can now look at the model in detail. Now again, before I go into the detail or the weight of the model, there's an alteration I want to talk about with this model that I have done, and it's the same alteration I've done with the Heljan 1366, and that's basically removing the black paint from the side rods and the valve gear, and that moving part on the valve gear as well, which looks a lot better now that the paint has been removed, because I don't like them black, to be honest, because they shouldn't be black. Again, I think Heljan's intention was to give them a weathered look, but they do look better like this as they are. Don't know why they were black, to be honest, but there we go. But all I did here was, again, like with the 1366, take a small flat bladed screwdriver and some paintbrush cleaner and just gently rub on the valve gear and the side rods. It's a little bit more tricky to do on the valve gear because it means that the model had to be ran so that the moving part on the valve gear moved up to a certain place where I'd already scraped the paint off, and then any areas that was exposed that I hadn't rubbed the paint off I could then do. You get the idea with that though, basically. Now we can talk about the weight, and again, like with the 1366, there's a lot of weight in this model, so there's plenty of weight and plenty of traction, so it will not have any struggle pulling trains. Because again, this is only a small loco, and Heljan have realised that it needs weight. So, thumbs up to Heljan for that. Moving on to the detail now, which we have sprung plastic buffers. I don't see much point in the sprung buffers, because you're only going to hold them when handling the model. Sorry, touch them when handling the model. But I only do it for review purposes. But if you like your sprung buffers, it will keep me quiet and happy. Moving on to the buffer beam, which has loads of rivets on it, which is what I like to see. We've also got the loco's running number, 1364, printed on the front there. And I like how you can see some of the rivet detail on the 4 there, that looks really good. We've also got the typical GWR styled brake pipe on the front there. And we've got another vacuum pipe and a chain link coupling as well. We've also got some guide irons as well, and you can also just about see the NEM socket, which you can put the coupling in. I won't be putting it on the front, it will just be going in on the back, like I've done with the 1366, so I can keep the detail on the front. Moving on to the cylinders now, which we do have some nice rivet detail on them, as you can just about see. And we do have a couple of drain cocks as well. They're not painted, but they're there anyway, and you could paint them yourself, so that's not really a problem. Moving to the running board, you can see loads of rivet detail on the running board, and also we've got some lamp irons as well. Moving on to the smokebox door, there are loads of rivets around the smokebox door, as you can see. We've also got separately fitted smokebox door darts as well. Now, since this photo was taken, since I filmed the review, I have actually painted the smokebox door darts, the hinges and the rim of the smokebox silver. And I've done that because I think it looks nice when painted silver, rather than just being black. And there are photos of that on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and you shall see that in future videos as well. You can also just about see that we've also got a lamp iron on the front of the smokebox there, just above the handrail. We also have a nice little chimney there. You could fit a smoke generator unit in it if you wanted, but it's not really my cup of tea, so I won't be doing it, but it's there for you to do, should you wish. We also get this little nice bit of detail behind the chimney. I have no idea what it's there for or what it was used for in reality, but it's a very nice thing to have, and that's been separately fitted as well. And it looks really, really nice. Moving on to the smoke box, which we have loads of rivets. We've also got a separately fitted metal handrail, which runs on the side of the smoke box and bends up and over the front of the smoke box door, as you can see. We've also got the outer steam pipes there on the smoke box, and you can also just about see a couple of lamp irons on the running board as well. Again, we have more rivets on the running board, and also you can see a couple of springs there just under the saddle tank, and also we've got the steam balance pipe as well. As you can see in this photo, we've also got some visible daylight under the boiler, which is always nice to see, as opposed to the motor mechanism blocking it out. And we've also got some nice pipework there at the back of the saddle tank and in front of the cab there. It's not painted, but you could do that yourself, but it looks nice, not painted anyway. We've also got these curious bits of metal sticking out either side of the saddle tanks. I have no idea what they're there for or what they were used for, but they're there, and they do make a nice bit of detail. I just don't know what they're used for, but I'm sure someone will comment in the comments below and tell me. We've also got separately fitted metal handrails on the saddle tanks, and they're painted as well as the same livery colour as, well, on the loco, which looks really nice. And as we'd expect, the saddle tanks are covered in rivets, which makes the model all the more realistic and more detailed. In front of the dome we have this piece of detail. I've got no idea what it is or what it's there for, but it's there and it looks quite good. We've also got a nice dome as well there, and a rather big one as well. We've also got a water filler cap and a couple of metal handrails there, either side of it, and some other small piece of detail there, just at the back of the water filler cap. No idea what it is, but it's a piece of detail in front of the safety valve. No idea what it's there for, but it's there anyway. We've also got the typical GWR styled safety valve there. It's painted green on the model, but I have since doing this video painted it a copper colour, which again you'll see in later videos, and there's photos of it on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and also behind the safety valve we have a couple of whistles there. And we've also got glazing in the cab windows, as we'd expect there to be. Moving on to the cab roof, which there are some rivet detail there, as you can see, and also a vent, which doesn't open and it doesn't need to, so it's just moulded on to the roof, but it's there anyway and it doesn't look too bad. Moving on to the cab, which we've got the typical GWR styled number plate there, with the loco's number 1364, and again, like with the 1366, it's moulded onto the cab, but it sticks out a bit, so it kind of looks like it's not moulded on, if you know what I mean. but you know what I mean anyway. And it does look really nice, in my opinion. We've also got a couple of small metal handrails there as well, either side of the cab door. And there are also loads of rivets on the side of the cab, as you can see, and it looks superb. And again, it makes the model look more realistic and detailed. We also have a footstep under the cab, and there are some rivets on that, as you can see, and again that looks really nice. You can also see a couple of rivet detail as well under the running plate. And we mustn't leave out the cab interior, and again, like with the 1366, all the detail is there, but none of it is painted. But you can do that yourself, so that's not really an issue, to be honest. Moving down to the wheels now, you can see the brake blocks there, again like with the 1366, and it's a nice bit of detail to have to show that, because again it makes the model look more realistic and like an actual locomotive. Again, there's some nice detail on the wheels. Again, I don't know what this part of the wheel is called, but there is some rivets on it, and it's the same with the 1366 as you saw in the previous review, and it looks nice. And just behind the rear drive wheels we have some sanding gear as well. I might as well talk about the outside moving parts again, which the valve gear and the side rods, it's all connected up very nicely and it all looks very nice, so it'll be good to see all that moving on the model like on the real thing. However, concerning the valve gear, I mean, what Heljan have done, they've used the same chassis from the 1366, which the chassis on both the 1366 and the 1361 were indeed the same. However, the valve gear on the 1361 was slightly different, in the sense of that on the 1361 the valve gear was tilted downwards rather than straight, as you can see here. So it would have been nice if Heljan had replicated that on the model. We now move on to the back of the bunker and the cab, which you can see again there are loads of rivets on there. Again, we have glazing in the rear cab windows, and we've got some guard irons there as well on the rear cab windows too. We have a brake pipe on the buffer beam there, as you can see. We've also got another vacuum pipe and a chain link coupling, and behind that you can just about see the NEM socket. Now I should point out here that the NEM socket on the rear of the loco does stick out a bit more than that on the 1366, so it does clash with the chain link coupling. And if you do put the NEM coupling in there, you will find that when pulling trains round bends, the loco does have the tendency to derail, as I have discovered. So it's probably best to cut off the chain link coupling on the back of this model, but it's not too much of a problem anyway, to be honest, but it's something to be aware of and be careful of. Again, we have more rivet detail on the buffer beam, and we've got the loco's running number again, 1364, printed on the buffer beam. We've also got some separately fitted lamp irons as well on the rear of the bunker, and painted black, as you can see, which makes them stand out. And we have the fire iron storage hooks, so you can put a shovel and poking irons and a bucket on there if you want. This is something I did later on, and it's always nice to do on models like this, and it is something that they did do in reality. You don't have to add them, but it's there so you can do it if you want to. And of course, like the front buffers, the rear ones are sprung and made of plastic. Now we move on to the coal load, which, like the 1366, it is indeed removable, as I shall demonstrate now, by getting a needle to prise it off the bunker. And like with the 1366, they've used double-sided tape to stick it onto the bunker, which is actually a very clever idea, and it's something different. And with the coal load being removable, you can put a real coal load in it if you want to do so. This was something I did later on, but you won't see it in this video, but you shall in others. But it's up to you if you want to add a real coal load in or not, so we'll just for now stick the plastic coal load back into the bunker. We now come on to the other side of the loco, which there are some different details there, which we shall talk about. First of all, we have this little detail on the... It's just in front of the motion bracket, and it's the same with the 1366. Again, I don't know what it's there for, but it's there. We've also got a nice little toolbox there as well. And we've also got what looks like a reversing lever. And now we come on to the livery, which it's a very nice application, nice and smooth and even, no errors in the paintwork. Again, like with the 1366, it is a lighter shade of green than you'd normally expect for GWR, but I don't care, because I like this shade of green. Because again, it's nice to actually have different shades of GWR green, because I think it adds a bit of variety, in my own little opinion. And it looks nice all the same. And we can't forget the beautiful GWR lettering on the sides of the saddle tanks. Just look at that, very nice and crisp. And the accurate style of lettering as well. Now we come into running in of the model, which, as you can see, she ran smoothly around the layout. No grinding noises, stuttering movement or motors burning out, because that is not what we should be expecting or seeing with new models like this. Fresh out of the box, they should run as they are, as you can see here. Because running is also important when it comes to models, not just detail. Now we come on to the loaded test run, which we had the 1361 pulling the rake of suburban coaches around the layout, which looked very nice and made a very nice little train. But it also shows why the weight is important, because without the weight, this model wouldn't be able to pull either of these coaches. So overall, the 1361 is a great little model. Again, like with the 1366, there are a couple of things that are not perfect and could be changed. However, everything else with the model outweighs those things, so they're not really major things. And this is a model that I would still recommend you get, and it is a model that, for the money, it is definitely worth it. Especially because it is something different as well to have on the layout. And it goes really well with any other GWR logo on the market, especially with the 1366. So on that note, I'm going to rate the Heljan 1361 a 9 out of 10. This has been Class 47 Peter reviewing the Heljan 1361, and I'll see you again soon in the next review. But until then, enjoy this review and take care.